on some music. Dawn is live. And turn off those mics. Turn these mics down.
Can I talk to you, lady? Just the other day, I ran into a good old friend of yours, and I had to ask her, how have you been? She told me you were engaged and happy. My heart fell to the floor, I know it should have been me, but I couldn't see you with no one else. But I'll believe it when I see you standing. I'll believe it to tell you how I feel. Yeah. Oh, I can't believe it. Forever, baby. I thought I was invincible, no one could take my place. I still get funny feelings when I see your face. I know the love we shared was so real. In spite of all the ups and downs that we've been through, sometimes I wish I was there with you to share your world. You were my girl, I'm still in love with you. But I know you better off with, cause obviously it wasn't meant to be. I'm so glad to see you happy. But your love and life goes on. We had to go our separate ways. You found someone for you, I found someone for me. Oh, but I believe it. I see you standing. I believe it. To tell you, if y'all don't mind, can I tell you how I feel? You believe it. You're leaving me forever, baby. Please, baby, listen here. See, I got down on my knees and I began to beg the Lord, please don't let it be known. I love that woman. I love that woman. I see you standing there. Oh, tell you how can I tell you how I feel? You believe. Oh, I can't believe it. Forever, baby. Think it over. I see you standing. Think it over. You won't regret it, baby. Oh no. Oh no. I see you standing. Lord have mercy. Said I gotta tell. If I don't tell, you will never know.
You sure looking good tonight, baby. I just wanna make sweet love to you tonight, baby.
Come on.
If you don't mind, you know.
Whoa.
Let me tell you.
Hey there, sexy lady of my dreams. Can I have you here with me? just wanna love you down. Yeah. I'm making you scream my name. Oh, I'm gone. Loving your body. I'll be kissing your body. And I'll be caressing your body. Oh, baby. Just come on. Loving your body. I'll be loving, feeling your body. I'm gonna touching your body all night, baby. Now I'm about to fulfill your fantasy. So come a little closer, bring your body to me. I'm trying to take my time, I won't rush at all. 'Cause you deserve the best. I'm gonna love, I'm gonna kissing your body until the morning comes. Caressing your body, oh baby, just come on, loving your body, and let me feeling your body, and I just wanna touching your body. If you don't mind, baby, let me loving your body. I just wanna kissing your body. Don't stop me, baby, kissing your body. Oh, baby, come on, loving your body. Let me feeling your body. Please, baby, touching your body. Baby. La 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 la. Oh, baby, please. Oh, please, baby. We're gonna get it on tonight. Let's get it on. Get it on. I wanna love. Kissing your body all night, baby. Kissing your body, oh baby. Don't stop long. Loving your body. Just let me love. Feeling your body. I just wanna touch your body. You all night long. Come on. Loving your body. Wanna do it again. Kissing your body. I wanna do it again. Kissing your body. I just can't get enough of you, baby. Feeling your body. Touching your body. I just wanna feel you tonight, baby. Can we make sweet love? If you don't mind, sip a little wine, spend a little time. Ooh, I wanna make sweet love. Ooh, I wanna make sweet love. Ooh, I wanna make sweet love. Hey, hey. Good morning. Yeah. I see you, Dawn. Slick J. Adams. Good morning. Come on. You're listening to the Book of Dawn. Good morning. You're listening to the Book of Dawn. This morning. You're listening to the Book of Dawn. Good morning. You're listening to the Book of Dawn. Are you ready for the truth? And nothing but the truth, so help you, Dawn. She's bringing it to you every weekday at 9 in the morning. So if you wanna hear the real, this is what you gotta do. Just log online and listen to Dawn speak her mind. You're listening to the Book of Dawn. In the morning, you're listening to the Book of Dawn. This morning, you're listening to the Book of Dawn. This morning, you're listening to the Book of Dawn. You're now tuned in to Dawn. Oh, sexy Dawn. What's in it for the black people media? Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Dawn. Come on, Dawn. you to help me snap, nephew. You know I can't snap. Right. It's like Milli Vanilli. You snap and my sound comes. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, sunshines. Good morning, nephew Ron.
Good morning, TT.
I'm going to say good morning. Y'all can't see her yet, but I'm going to say good morning, Amy.
Good morning.
You look fantastic. I can't wait to share you with these viewers and you telling us how to pivot for success. I hate that I couldn't read it before we had this interview, but I'll be more excited to read it after you kind of share with us the motivation for it. So today is Who's That Girl? And my woman crush is a lady who I had the honor of meeting many years ago and who I respect greatly as a mentor and am looking forward. We have had some conversations about her helping me pivot in the past. And I don't know that maybe I just wasn't ready. But I'm ready now. Okay. I guarantee you that. You're tuned into the Book of Dawn, live broadcasting from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. I am your host, same OG, new page in the Book of Dawn. Thank you for tuning in every weekday. We have another week, and then Saranara for the summer.
Then
we like facts. But interested, keep following at Book of Dawn on Instagram and on Facebook, because as we get into our next season, lot of the same, a little bit of new, but I need your help and I need I want you to submit your jokes. I know you guys love my jokes, but I know some of you guys are funny. So just pay attention for that stuff that's coming up. Today is Wednesday, June 23rd, already. Half of the year done, like literally. The weather right now is in the 60s. We have a high of 74, and they said out south, me, a city girl, out south, which means anything past 95th Street. Little rain this morning, but then the rest of the day would be dry. So I encourage you to hang out with Vibe Music Live at Pier 31. Miss Michelle Bussey is out there with her band, and she is quite a talent. It's no cost, but you definitely can support Pier 31 by purchasing the great food and the super cocktails there. There is parking, but as always, if you're going to drink, please Uber. Give Uber some money. Birthdays. I got some birthdays for you. Some of my good friends. And so we're going to say happy birthday first, it is National Hydration Day. Every day for me as a champagne lover should be hydration day. Like I wake up in the morning, I drink 16 ounces of water because you're supposed to wake your body up. But
so what they mean hydration as in water? Because, you can hydrate yourself with anything.
No, you can't. You dehydrate yourself with other stuff.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. Coffee, the coffee that I drink, that grande cold brew, is dehydrating me. It is working opposite of the water. So, yeah, liquor dehydrates you. Just because you're drinking and consuming doesn't make it hydration.
So, like, juices like Hawaiian Punch and stuff, that's dehydrating?
Look at you're going to make me, you're going to make me act like a TT for real in front of company. No, you're putting stuff in your body. That sugar is eating your insides out.
Dehydrating.
Yeah, absolutely. Water. And sometimes when I go too hard or I haven't done proper with my water, I do like Pedialyte, but you really shouldn't do that because there are lots of sugars in there. I think I told you a month ago or so, V8 now makes a vegetable hydration that's not nasty. It's not your regular V8, and there's sugar-free hydration in it. But the best hydration is water. Remember, when you get thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So get up in the morning, wake your body up, not with ice cold water, but with just some water. Get your insides going. Make certain that you put it in your phone or a reminder to yourself to drink lots of water. National Hydration Day. It's National Pink Day. I don't have anything on pink, but it's National Pink Day. I guess AKAs can go and celebrate.
Now, is it pink for breast cancer, or is it just not the color pink?
The color pink. These days, one day I'm going to have a Book of Dawn Day because I say so. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We might have to do a comfort cake day. So, all we have to do is lobby. It's all about lobbying. Hey, I guess I did a thing yesterday. Oh, wait, and it's National Typewriter Day. You know why I love that? Because, what are you, Gen what?
I'm a millennial.
Okay. Yep. And then what's behind you?
Gen Z.
That's J, my baby. Is it Z? So y'all did you have a typing class?
We had typing class.
Nah.
Computer.
That's not a typing class.
You know what you call that? The
keypad.
It was like a computer. It was like a lady.
Oh, Mavis Beacon.
Mavis Beacon.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I had. I had Mavis Beacon in grammar school.
So, have you ever used a typewriter?
No, not an actual typewriter.
You haven't actually lived, honestly. I'm just going to throw that out there. As a person who wants to now, even more than ever, finish her book, something about that and that tape. You probably can't even really type if you didn't learn how to type and move your hand up.
Now, see, I can type, but I have to look down.
Oh, well, then you can't type. Mavis Beacon, Lord have mercy. I think I still have the one Ryan used.
I think I need to re-download that.
I think you do. You got some stuff you got to know. Now, I do look down for some things. And there's difference when you type on a Mac versus a Dell. It's a different swag. But if you don't know how to use a typewriter, I don't really think you should be in journalism or broadcasting or communications. Get a typewriter. They have them for sale at Goodwill. And type. Even the electric one. I'll let you use the electric one. I'll let you slide. But if you learn how to use that manual joint, clink, clink, it's just...
I watched my brother struggle with one. Like, we had to go to the public library, to type up our papers using the computer. But all the computers are, like, taking her down. And they had, we got a typewriter room. That was back when I was in grammar school, so they still had one.
So y'all was doing like Nick Saban?
He was in there, and... I saw how frustrating it was for him. I was like,
you have to learn to type. That is going to be my personal mission while we're on break this summer. I'm going to get you a typewriter, and I'm going to show you how to type.
I need to.
Okay, I want you to. Evolve. You're going to be 30 on Sunday. Come on now. You're crossing over into non-millennial. You're about to be with the old people. Okay, I'm gonna teach you how to type.
All right.
Okay. So we're gonna say happy birthday really quickly to Tony Hatchett. Luther South Brave, Greg Jones, Joe Soto. You know who Joe Soto is? I'm speaking my age. He's radio.
A radio person now.
Yeah, Joe to the soul, to the toe. Yeah, you remember that?
To him, but I know.
Okay. Phyllis Holmes, who is my cousin Ricky's mama, our Secretary of State, our current Secretary of State, soon to be retired, Jesse White, and Greg Chappelle, one of the homies that is in the KTLO crew. KTLO was the Keep the Lights On crew. He's supported our restaurants and our ventures, and so he was officially in our fraternity of KTLO. Happy birthday from the Book of Dawn. If you have birthdays, you didn't hear your birthday, it's because you didn't tell me it was your birthday.
Still Gemini season, right?
Yeah,
Until
I think Cancer
tomorrow,
starts. No. My brother, rest in peace, was a Cancer, and his birthday is Friday. So maybe it starts
tomorrow.
Nah. Yeah. My brother was a Gemini. No, maybe it was a Cancer.
Yeah, I think it starts tomorrow.
Ask Google. Ask the new Encyclopedia Britannica, a.k.a. Google.
Yeah, let's find out.
Let's find out. Let's be accurate.
Jesse White birthday was...
Yeah, and happy belated birthday to my favorite auntie, Antoinette Boyd. It was while we were on break, so I get an excuse, but I missed her birthday. My granny's birthday happened. I don't know the date.
Okay,
and my dad's birthday happened, and I don't know what day that is
June
either.
21st.
Oh, it's Cancer season.
It's Cancer season now. So we start when summer starts.
On the solstice.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
It's special.
Things that make you say, oh, you are summer babies.
Yep.
Whatever. It means your parents were having sex at Thanksgiving or shortly before the Halloween or something. Halloween might have been a frightmare. Who knows? I don't know. We have to count backwards.
I want to think about that.
Word of the day comes from the old French 14th century. It's a verb. It's spelled Brugeon. It's pronounced burgeon. It means begin to grow or increase rapidly, right? And so I will just put this in the atmosphere. The Book of Dawn continues to burgeon because she keeps it so real.
Hey, I like that one.
That's a good one, right? And really, I think did I do all the housekeeping? I didn't do the Black History fact. I can do that on the other end, right?
Okay.
So now I can switch in Miss Amy. Yep, that's what I can do. All I gotta do is come back over. Oh, look at that. Won't he do it? Good morning, Miss Amy.
Good morning, Miss Dawn.
Amy S. Hilliard is an award-winning serial entrepreneur, successful corporate executive. She has worn many hats: board member, author, speaker, educator, an expert in branding and repositioning and multicultural marketing for corporations and for nonprofits. She has led Fortune 500 companies. She is a native Detroitian. I think they say ATLian, so I'm gonna say Detroitian, but now a Chicagoan.
Yes.
She will always, the Motor City will always be in her heart, but she is one of ours. So I will be giving her that Chicago test before she gets out of here. Yes. You know, there are certain things that you know about a person from Chicago by where they shop or what they call certain things. Now, you were born in Detroit, so you might kind of teeter, but I still think you've been here long enough to for us to give you that test. A graduate of Howard University. What are those? The Bisons?
Yes.
Okay. Shouts out to Kelly Fair, and a honors graduate also of Harvard Business School.
That's right.
That in of itself, I'd like to pause and say, an honors graduate from Detroit at Harvard Business School, Black woman.
Yes. That would be
That's quite. We could leave it right there. We could drop the mic right there. Let's pick it up from Detroit. Tell us about your upbringing in Detroit and how you landed at Howard and then Harvard.
Well, I am a proud product of the Big D, Detroit.
Yes.
And I grew up with 3 sisters.
Okay.
And my parents made sure that we were proud of what we did in Detroit. And we lived in an area that was mixed, which meant that we lived in an area where there were working class people who were working to better themselves, worked in the Ford plants and the GM plants, but also educators. And it was a great place to grow up. And so we saw all kinds of people, all kinds of entrepreneurs, as well as folks who had jobs and who just wanted to do well. But our neighborhood was one where people kept their houses very well
manicured
lawns. Everybody was like, okay, that lawn isn't done. And somebody would say, okay, they need to mow their lawn.
Right,
you know?
right.
But the thing that was also great is that we lived within walking distance of Motown.
Oh, gosh.
So I could walk down 5-6 blocks and stand in front of Hitsville, USA.
That house.
That house.
I went to a funeral there in Detroit 3 years ago. LeVan Hawkins.
Okay.
And the funeral, the church or the facility that the funeral was at was right next door to it. Right. It almost brings tears to your eyes. It's so much of who we are.
I mean, really. Well, I grew up with that history.
Yeah.
I mean, when I would walk by the Hitsville place, because there was a beauty parlor, a beauty salon, you know, in one of those homes that my mother used to take us to. And so I'd walk by there and the Temptations would be hanging out. Smokey be hanging out with the Miracles, Stevie Wonder, and all those Cadillacs and whatnot. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a thing to hang out with, right?
Yeah.
And Aretha Franklin's house was on the way.
Wow.
To Motown.
Motown.
Yes, and I'd walk by their house. So seeing that was an amazing way to think, you know, as an entrepreneur, because Berry Gordy built that in that house.
He did.
And so in Detroit, that's where my entrepreneurial juices started to flow.
Okay.
Because I'm like, wow, you know, you can have your own business. we lived and went to our black church, and across the street from our black church was Grady's Pharmacy, and Mr. Grady owned that pharmacy.
Okay.
So that was what really seeded me in that I could be an entrepreneur. So I had the babysitting locked down in my neighborhood.
Started young,
Started young, yeah. I had little cards printed out with, if you need a babysitter, I'm your girl.
Right.
I was like 10, 12 years old.
I'm going on eBay and find one of those.
That's right.
Somebody has one.
That's right. And then also, I used to take rose petals from my mother's garden and soak them in water and put them in the little bottles that you would get at the 5 and 10 store and sell them for 10 cents.
Amy,
as
you
perfume.
do know that people are doing that right now, making a lot of money. I wish you had making forever roses and perfume, rose water.
Rose water. I didn't know, but I was selling it then.
Wow.
And making my little money.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was always about making money, right?
Okay.
And so that's where it started. But also in Detroit, my parents were very civic oriented.
Okay.
So they were always about, the block clubs and, it was almost like Black Lives Matter back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's how I also grew up. And so that was seeded back then as well, to be about your community.
Yeah.
Always.
Which is,
Always.
I don't know how we're going to get that back, but we're going to have to get it back.
That's
because we knew we mattered, even though there was a struggle.
Right.
We were accountable to each other on those blocks. And that's really, I think, where the demise happened, is when we stopped holding our neighbors accountable.
That's right.
For even just their yards.
That's right.
Because we are a block.
That's right.
You don't have a house on an island. You have a house in the middle of the block. And
That's right.
And what you're going to do is your yard.
That's right. You're going to keep it up. That's
Yeah.
right. And if you did something that your mama didn't want you to do,
Yeah.
somebody was going to tell you about it and
Yeah.
tell your mama.
Yeah,
Okay?
you might get a whooping from them and then a whooping when your mama come home. I
That's
know
right.
I wasn't a bad kid, but that happened to me once. I did leave the block, though.
Right.
I deserved the whooping. We're going to take a break and come right back. We're going to talk about how we get to Howard, how we get to Harvard, and then one of the, I think Fashion Fair is a huge part of your story, but I think the biggest part of your story that I want to share with people about that spirit of entrepreneurship that was born and seeded in you in Detroit became Comfort Cake.
Okay.
Because that really, you've had great jobs, you've been well compensated, but that really began you living in your passion because of your love of nutrition for your community. And so we're going to talk to Amy. Stay with us, share the broadcast. We'll be right back. It's the Book of Dawn.
WIIFTBP. WIIFTBP. Media's just for you and me. WIIFTBP. Media's just for you and me.
If I tell them to blow, I keep that metal close. That's how we ride in Chicago.
Alderman Lopez, welcome back to the Maze Jackson Show. The mayor has a very peculiar way she's dealing with this, and I'm trying to understand, why does it seem like we're handling this with kid gloves?
The reason that she's not going after the root cause, which is gangs, the reason she's not calling out the silent enablers, as I tweeted out the other day, is because those are many of the same people that she relied on to get elected. I'm talking about the not-for-profits, those that reach out for grants and try to be the intermediaries in a community to try and bridge some of these anti-violence groups, things of that nature. These organizations that say they're trying to build bridges oftentimes are the ones that are enabling the gang lifestyle and allowing it to go unchecked and not holding accountable the individuals causing the violence in the neighborhoods. Those same partners, which she funds, which she relies on, were unceremoniously all pimping themselves out at a press conference. Ooh. Saying nobody said a word about gangs, but what they did say is that we need more money for the programs that we offer to help stop the violence. And clearly for more money to go to organizations that are working against the residents of the city of Chicago.
Alderman, how did y'all approve $37 million to go to one ward for violence prevention? $37 million? I don't think there's been a $37 million investment in anything black
when these amendments to the budget and when these programs come before us, and I've asked the last time that these were proposed by the administration, what metrics are we using to ensure that everyone with their hand out was not still enabling gangbangers in the middle of the night? And then oftentimes have intervened on behalf of gangbangers, particularly in the Latino community. When you see in other communities, like the Black community, when you start doling out contracts to, say, Metropolitan Family Services, and now they're responsible for doling out to organizations to come into neighborhoods like, for example, West Englewood, contract out to organizations that have no connection to a community, build no bridges to a neighborhood, but get $300,000 to stop violence.
The most dangerous show in the morning.
I don't know what you did, but you did it right. Girl, you make it look so easy. Everywhere you go, heads turning left and right. Can't say you a dime, you're a 20 piece. Cause girl, you're the reason I be acting funny. Everything in me telling me don't let you get away. And all the guys looking like they wanna love you. Every day I'm your body, got not over my dead body. Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? With your hair done, nails done, when you put that grown on. Why you gotta look so good? With your hair done, nails done, when you put that grown on, girl, why you gotta look so good? I can look and see you're not an average chick. You're shutting it down everywhere you go. Girl, I want you as bad as I want a check. Cause you're sexy from head to toe. Girl, you're the reason I be acting funny. Everything in me telling me don't let you get away. And all the guys looking like they wanna love you. Every day I'm your body, got not over my dead body. Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? Why you gotta look so good? With your hair done, nails done, when you put your grown on. It's something about you when you put your grown on. When you're waking up straight out of bed, girl, why you gotta look so good?
This song,
When you're at the job,
Lord, if I had a fan and I was in the old church, I don't know. This reminds me of, this is Chicago Motown, Slick J. Adams. This part. Dawn, you know you be killing it when you be putting your grown woman on. I just remix all the songs. Can't sing a lick, but that's okay. Welcome back. You're tuned into the Book of Dawn, broadcasting live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. Liz Vincent said, "Hi, Amy."
Hi, Liz.
We talked a little bit before the break. Amy shared with us her early ability to see what was happening right in front of her. Accountability, which is huge in business, which is, I think, a lot of your success comes from your integrity, because you watch the integrity of the community in your block and of those great musicians and in the spirit that your mother raised you in Detroit. And then how you started your businesses young. I'm still tickled that rose water is now a thing, and you were doing that before they were selling rose water for $6 for 2 ounces. Then you go, you matriculate in Detroit, I'm assuming public school systems.
Oh, totally.
Okay. And you go to Howard. Was it a conscious choice to go to an HBCU, or was that, where did that choice come from?
It was totally conscious on my part.
Okay.
My parents wanted me to go to Michigan State because I had a 4-year scholarship to Michigan State.
Okay.
And so I did well in school and I had that scholarship, but I wanted to go to Howard.
Okay.
I had, several family members that had gone there, and my parents were like, well, that's very nice, but you have a scholarship to Michigan State.
Sure.
So unless you get a scholarship to Howard, you're going to Michigan State. And I was really, like, okay, how am I going to get to Howard? And so I was really thinking about that, and I had a teacher at my high school, Cass Technical High School.
Okay.
And that was my speech teacher, Mrs. Burgess. I'll never forget her. And so she noticed that I was really, intense about something, and she said, well, Amy, what's going on? I said, I want to go to Howard University, and I need a scholarship. And so she said, well, let's get to work.
Oh, gosh.
Let's get to work. And she researched scholarships for me. Oh, wow. And she found a debate team scholarship.
Are you serious?
Yes. Just like the movie The Great Debaters with Denzel Washington.
Yes.
That was me.
Oh, wow.
That was me.
That's fascinating.
Yes. And so I got a debate team scholarship. And so I was there and doing debates all over the Southeast with our team. And that's how I got to go to Howard.
That is fascinating.
It was.
It also makes now hearing that piece of the puzzle, I understand how you were able to hold these positions. Debating isn't bad.
No.
It's conversation, it's dialogue, and you learn a lot.
Oh my goodness,
because
yes.
to debate, you have to really listen. And so the success of you being the previous president of Fashion Fair Cosmetics and, well, executive positions at Bloomingdale's and all of the stuff that you've done in business, being able to listen so that you can really teach people how to tap into certain markets was probably born in that debate process.
I'm glad you said that because I love to debate. And some people think that's an argumentative trait, but it's really not.
I think people that think debating is arguing are people that feel a little bit insecure about their ability to listen and then give you a response. You don't have to agree with me.
No, but you do have to know your facts.
Absolutely.
And that's the difference with debating. You can't
Facts.
just argue.
Yeah.
You have to have facts. You have to have receipts.
Yeah.
And then you can really share your point of view, but you have to do it strategically. And that you're absolutely right. It gave me the ability to present a point of view with facts, but listen so that it could be accepted.
Yeah, yeah. And then when they present you with a non-factual retort, no. Like, let's, like you said, let's show me the receipts.
Right.
So, so nephew, when it is really, the art of debate is lost, probably right at your generation.
Yeah, because in my generation, they start to believe that an opinion is a fact and it's not the same.
True. And then social media doesn't help. Social media does not help with presenting facts.
No, not necessarily. No, it doesn't, because it's like, this is what I feel and this is what I saw. And
then by the time, and it's repeated 40 million times, and then it becomes fact.
Yeah, people they confuse their perceptions with facts.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. He's such an old soul. So, okay, you Howard Bison, you graduate.
Right.
Did you go right away to business school?
No, that's another funny story, and it's in my book, because all of my friends, and I was politically active at Howard. I was on the Liberal Arts Student Council with Congressman Elijah Cummings.
Oh my goodness.
He was a class ahead of me, and he was the president of the Liberal Arts Student Council, but I was on the Liberal Arts Student Council right with him.
Oh my gosh.
So we worked together.
Now that's real Black history.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Wow. He's so powerful.
He was amazing even back then.
Wow.
So, being able to work side by side on political issues with him and other people, and, a friend of mine who was also in the Liberal Arts Student Council, all my friends were in law school, and I majored in business. I minored in business, and I majored in home economics, of all things.
Wow.
Because I wanted to be a buyer in retail, because I liked fashion. I was on the teen fashion board in Detroit at the J.L. Hudson fashion store. And so I majored there in home economics, minored in business, but all my buddies were going to law school. And I'm like, well, I don't want to go to law school.
Right.
And so the dean of the business school took a liking to me, and he said, well, Amy, why don't you think about getting your MBA?
Okay.
And so I'm like, well, okay. He said, you can always do whatever you want to do in business, but the MBA will give you flexibility.
True.
And so I'm like, okay, that's a good idea. So one of my buddies, and he's in my book, Jeff Simmons.
Okay.
He said, well, Amy, if you're going to apply to business school, let me give you a bit of advice. He said, start at the top.
Well, you started,
Apply.
say less.
Yeah, and it's a strategy I've used the rest of my career. He said, if you want to do anything, start at the top. Apply to the top 10 business schools. If they tell you no, apply to the next 10 business schools. But always start at the top.
I like that.
Oh, it was a phenomenal strategy. So I started applying to the top. And at the time, Harvard was number one. But I applied to Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, Columbia, all the top 10 business schools. Mm-hmm. And so, I didn't get into the number schools like Stanford and Wharton and whatnot because that wasn't, numbers was not my thing. Mm-hmm. But Harvard gave me what is called a deferred admit.
Okay.
And so, but when I read the letter, I opened it up and it said, from Harvard Business School, you have, and I'm reading it to my parents at the time that I'm reading it.
Okay.
And so this was I graduated from Howard in 1974, and I thought I was going to be going to business school in 1974.
Okay.
So I'm reading the letter. I'm saying, Dear Amy, you have been accepted to Harvard Business School, the class of 1976? What? 76? I was furious. I'm like, what do you mean 76? We think that you are going to be a great addition to the Harvard Business School, but we want you to work for 2 years. And we want you to take a statistics class to strengthen your numbers. I was like, what? What? My parents had to, calm me down and everything. And then I said, but you have been accepted to Harvard.
To Harvard.
So calm down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How many of us can say that?
That's right.
Yeah.
So after I calmed down, then I said, okay, now I need to get a job.
Okay.
Because I really hadn't thought about getting a job because I was going to go to business school. I thought that
fall. Yes.
So I applied that start from the top mentality to getting a job.
Okay.
And I wanted to do retail. So I said, well, what store would I want to work for? Bloomingdale's was the #1 department store in the country.
It surely was.
Because the Queen of England had just gone there for a visit.
Yeah.
And I'm
with
like,
the little Bloomies bag, the branding of those little bags.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, I'm going to apply there. Luckily, they had come to Howard to recruit.
Wow.
And so I got a job at Bloomingdale's. I got the first interview at Bloomingdale's at Howard, and then they brought me to New York to interview there.
Okay.
And so they were excited. They gave me a job, and they said, well, we think you'll be great in the men's sock department. I was like, socks? Men's socks?
Men's socks. Okay.
I'm like, do I look like a men's sock girl?
Right. I never picked out my daddy's socks, just so y'all know.
Yeah, my daddy picked out his own socks. Thank you very much. But then I thought about when you're in a situation where you know you want something else, but they're offering you Bloomingdale's. Now, someone would say, just take it so that you can start there.
Okay.
But I was filling out the paperwork for human resources.
Okay.
And I just said, while I'm here, let me just ask a question to the HR manager.
Okay.
I said, since I'm here in the store, would it be possible to get an exploratory interview with a designer dress buyer? Since I'm here.
Wow.
What? Right.
I mean, so let's pause right there. What I wrote start at the top because I know personally, you already diminish your ability and your capacity because you always think, oh, I can't do that. I'm gonna go right here because it might be easier. Mm-hmm. So I've already written that down as one of my takeaways from today. What gave you the wherewithal and the courage to ask that question when they could have said, okay, well, how about you just don't work here? What gave you the courage to ask that question?
Because I always think of what is the worst they can say. They already had given me the sock assignment.
Okay.
They weren't going to take that away from me. They were going to tell me, if you want to work here, you have to start in socks.
Okay.
So I would have been there in socks.
Okay, gotcha.
So I said, what's the harm? Since I'm already here in New York, you already brought me here. Mm-hmm. And the thing that is strategic was the use of the word exploratory interview.
Okay.
And I've always used that strategy as well, because when you say exploratory interview or exploratory meeting, you're not asking anybody for a yes or no. You're just saying, can we just explore the possibility?
Okay.
So that takes the edge off of the meeting. It takes the edge off of the interview because let's just
And
explore.
the expectation, right?
So
Okay.
we're just exploring.
Okay.
And so the HR manager said, well, let's see.
Okay.
And she called up the designer dress buyer, and she happened to be in.
Oh, wow.
And then she...
God is so intentional.
And that's the other thing. I'm a woman of faith.
Yeah, God is
and
so
I said,
intentional.
if it's supposed to be, God will make it happen.
He will indeed.
And that's what gave me the courage.
Okay.
And so she happened to be in, and it was Miss Elaine Monroe.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And so I went up to her office, and let me tell you, the designer dress area in Bloomingdale's, you're talking Halston, Bill Blast, Givenchy, all the big boys, Oscar
Okay.
de la Renta, all of them.
Yeah.
And so she brought me to her office, and we got along great.
Oh, I love that
We got along
story.
great. And Elaine Monroe, Miss Monroe, who I was told to always call her,
Yes, of
she
course.
picked up the phone and she called HR. She said, listen, I don't care what the policy is for new assistant buyers at Bloomingdale's. I want Amy to work for me. Make it happen.
Click. Boss. Boom. Drop the mic for real.
Yes. And so there I was, straight out of Howard University, and in 2 weeks, I'm on 7th Avenue making the rounds with Miss Monroe.
Wow. Yeah, a lifetime for some people that never get there in fashion.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then one last story about that, because it pivots right into Fashion Fair. So we are getting ready to do the rounds for the fall fashion season. And we had Halston was getting ready to show.
Okay.
And so Miss Monroe said, Amy, go down to the Halston show, on the showroom on 7th Avenue, and get our seats, because I have a meeting with the senior VP, and I'll meet you there. I'm like, okay. So I go to Halston's showroom, and I go to the front door, and I said, I'm here for the fashion show. And they took one look at me, and they said, oh, deliveries are in the back.
Oh, Amy, I'm so glad God gave you the different spirit of this cussing saint over here, because nephew, okay, look, I'm on the cliffhanger.
He's gonna hit him.
What did you say?
I said, excuse me, I'm Amy Hilliard, the assistant to Elaine Monroe at Bloomingdale's, and I believe our seats are in the front.
Again, mic drop.
Okay. And he said, oh, you're Miss Monroe's assistant? I said, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Well, your seats are definitely in the front. Come with me.
Yeah, bruh. Yeah.
So he ushered me to my front row seat, and I'm sitting there in the front row. A few minutes later, this bejeweled, beautiful black woman comes over to me, and she said, young lady, you are sitting in the front row of Halston's fashion show, and I do not know who you are. That woman was Mrs. Eunice Johnson.
No, Fashion Fair Johnson.
Mrs. Eunice Fashion Fair Johnson.
Okay.
Now, at the time, Mrs. Johnson was a very respected customer in all the fashion world because of the Fashion Fair fashion show.
Sure.
She bought all those couture fashions. She didn't rent them, she bought them. So they treated her royally.
Sure.
And she said, I do not know who you are. And I said, oh, Mrs. Johnson, I know who you are. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Kiss the ring. You are Ebony and Jet and Magazine Fashion Fair. Oh, Mrs. Johnson. And I told her why I was there. And she said, well, young lady, I'm so proud of you with your retail job. But let me tell you one thing. Today, you are going to see history. All the black models in this show, because at that time, the black models were all the rage.
Okay.
All the black models in this show are going to be wearing Fashion Fair cosmetics for the very first time.
Wow.
Mr. Johnson and I made our own line of cosmetics because all the big cosmetic manufacturers, Max Factor, Charles Revson, would not make them for us, and we asked them to. So you will see them on their faces for the very first time.
Very first time. Wow. That's huge. Clearly that relationship grew because at some point you left Bloomingdale's and began to work with Fashion Fair.
Well, that was 40 years later.
Okay.
But I never forgot that. And I kept in touch with the Johnsons, and over the years after I had done other corporate things, even after I started Comfort Cake. Mm-hmm. When Linda Johnson Rice asked me to come over to run Fashion Fair, I told her, I said, Linda, I'm doing this for you, but I'm also doing it for your parents.
Mm-hmm. Two important things I want to spend a little bit of time on. First of all, your poise. I think what I have learned from you, and what I hope others will learn from this interview and from purchasing this book. By the way, it's available on Amazon.com. Is it sold anywhere else?
Yes, BarnesandNoble.com.
Okay.
And should be on BooksAMillion.com. And it's getting into bookstores now, too.
Okay, good. And this is the first press, just so you guys know. What I have realized through just this conversation that I knew, but I hadn't heard it out loud, is the strength in maintaining relationships and the integrity of them. It appears that your success comes from listening and maintaining the relationships with the business dean of business, with the debate, with the speech teacher in high school, fashion fair. Can you share with us how valuable not tarnishing the integrity of a relationship is?
It is critical. I don't burn bridges, ever. I really try not to ever get into that mindset, because you never know when relationships are going to be coming back for you.
Sure.
And I want to give to relationships, because you never know when people will need you, or when you're going to need them, or when it's just going to be a good thing to have. And I just think that it's important. And my father really taught me this, because he was the one who could talk to anybody. And he could talk to, the guy who would be, we had an alley behind our house, and the junk man would come through the alley.
Okay.
And he would always, "How are you doing today, sir?"
Yeah.
And he would call the junk man sir.
Sir. Oh, yeah.
"How are you doing today, sir?"
Because he is a sir.
Because he is a sir.
Yeah.
And yet he could always talk to governors. He traveled to Japan. He was in the Lions Club, and he traveled to Japan. So he could talk to anyone. And he was very, as I mentioned, civically oriented. He worked on mayor's campaign for the first black mayor in Detroit. And I used to watch how he would interact. And my mother could talk to anybody, too. I mean, my mother, whenever she went anywhere, it was like, "Hi, Amy, but how's your mom?"
Right. Right.
And so I learned from my parents about relationships and friendships. And so I've always just thought that was important to maintain.
It's a lesson, and for 10 seconds, I just wanted to marinate. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. It does not matter what your title is. It does not matter what your name is. It doesn't matter what stock you came from. What matters is humility and how you treat people.
Oh my God, yes.
Because it precedes you.
That's right.
In real life. And if you're just a jerk because you think it's a limited run of success.
It is. And it's not successful at all.
Yeah.
Because you're not treating people as the human being that God put on this earth just like you.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that story. If you can call the junk guy sir, he is a sir.
That's right.
And we don't have the right to diminish who he is because of what he does.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now tell us you comfort cake. Give us a little bit about comfort cake before we go to the pivot, because this pivot comes from all of your abilities to pivot, from that interview, from that exploratory question. I see the pivot. I see now how this was born. Right. But I do want to share about comfort cake, because you, long before being in places like Walmart and getting licenses and patents were a thing or a buzzword, you were actually doing them. Tell us about comfort cake.
Well, comfort cake became a thing because pound cake is my favorite dessert. Okay. And I was at Howard buying a lot of Sara Lee pound cake.
Okay.
So I'm buying a lot of pound cake. And it also came because my mother, who was very industrious, I mean, she, had 4 kids and then went to college. Okay.
Amen.
Okay. And she was an entrepreneur. She had a nursery school in our basement, a co-op nursery school, so that we could get a good education, and all the mothers put in so we could hire a good teacher.
Okay.
But I saw that too. And she was a great cook in some ways, but she had certain recipes she cooked all the time.
Okay.
She made one kind of cake.
Okay.
The 1, 2, 3, 4 cake that mothers know about.
Okay.
And she just changed the icing, depending on whose birthday it was, whose holiday it was. And so I said, well, if my mother could make one cake really well, I can make one cake really well. Okay. And I learned how to make pound cake.
Really?
So I studied it. I learned it. I, collected recipes until I had a pound cake recipe that I loved.
Okay.
And I brought it to every bake sale, dinner party. I was always making that pound cake. And people kept saying, girl, this isn't so good. You should put it on the market. Girl, you really should put it on the market.
Okay.
I said, if one person tells me again I should put it on the market, I'm going
to put it on the market.
And that happened when I got to Chicago.
Okay.
I'm at a block club, party on the block. And this one woman said, I want to buy this cake. You should put it on the market. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I was working for Soft Sheen at the time.
Okay.
Now, I had been, at Gillette, at Pillsbury, and I was the senior vice president at Soft Sheen.
Okay.
I had raised money. I had, launched multi-million-dollar brands for major corporations. So
Sure.
I knew how to do that.
Sure.
And I had to sit back and say, how many more times am I going to do that for major companies versus doing it for my own family?
Yeah. Yeah. Now that when we get into pivot, so you having there's fear.
Oh no.
When you take a step like that.
Absolutely.
But you push past that.
There's faith too.
There's faith. That part.
So I had to hire somebody to write the business plan for me because I was still working for Soft Sheen. And I said, write the business plan. Then I had to come to the decision point because Soft Sheen was talking to me about my career trajectory. We want you to stay there. We want you to think about becoming president and all of that. Mm-hmm. And I had to sit on my porch. I had a big house, in Kenwood that, I was a single mother by the time, but I knew that house had a lot of equity in it. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm sitting on my porch. I had a porch swing that I loved, and I'm sitting on that porch swing, and I'm just, what am I going to do? Because I had to make a decision and tell L'Oreal, who had acquired Soft Sheen, what was I going to do.
Okay.
I was crying because I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I heard God talk to me for the very first time very deeply. He said, take my hand and do comfort cake.
Oh, gosh, I got chills because I talked to him, and I know that voice is real.
That voice is very real.
Yeah.
And my neighbors were walking by. They're like, Amy, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Right.
And so I went inside the house because I didn't want them to be upset. I sit on my steps, and he told me that again. Mm-hmm. He said, Amy, take my hand and do comfort cake.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's when I knew I was going in there on that Monday and resign my job.
Wow.
And I was going to do it.
Now that's faith.
And that was faith.
Yeah. That's the substance.
Right.
Yeah, that's
what
most people, they never manifest because we always, Reverend Winston said it best. He said, God created the earth in 6 days, and then he put man in it. He said, so the provision was there.
Right.
You have to walk in the mission.
You do.
Yeah.
And God really wanted me to walk in the mission because after I had the business plan done, I went to all the banks in Chicago, and nobody would give me a loan.
Wow.
They said, a pound cake business, that's a cute idea. That's a cute idea.
That's cute.
That's cute. Come to us when you have some customers because that's a really cute idea. I said, listen, I'm not trying to be cute.
Right.
I'm trying to put 2 kids through college.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to eat out here.
I'm trying to eat out here. This is not a cute idea. This is a business.
Yeah.
I said, there's Sara Lee pound cake, Entenmann's pound cake. This is a business.
Yeah.
And they would not give me a loan. And so in order to start the business and do the business the way that I knew how to do a business, I had an option that I was sitting on, that I was living in, and that was my house.
Okay.
And so I had to talk to my kids who were 9 and 14 at the time.
Used to living in a big house in Kenwood.
Right. I said, listen, Mommy wants to start this business, but in order to do it, I have to sell the house. Are you guys with me on that? Because if they weren't, I wasn't going to do it.
Okay.
And my son, who was younger, 9, he said, well, Mommy, I know you like your porch swing, but we can do this and get a swing we can put into an inside swing.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you, baby.
Yeah.
And my daughter, who's, very much a writer and she just, has this thought process. She said, Mommy, a house is not a home. A home is a place you live with the people that you love.
Wait, we're going to let that sit right there. We're going to take a break and come back because, that part, that's all I can say is that part. I have chills. One of my broadcast brothers says courage and gumption together that's a powerful thing. Yeah, we're gonna pivot after the break when I tell you one of my funny jokes. Stay tuned. This is the Book of Dawn. Please share. Hey, if you're an entrepreneur out there and you're scared, but you know that God gave you something, I just put the thread in there. Get the book and listen to the rest of the interview. We'll be right back.
WIIFTBP. WIIFTBP. Media's just for you and me. WIIFTBP. Media's just for you and me.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out chicagolegalnetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
Broken screen? Crash system? Are you in need of spyware or virus removal from your computer? Well, contact RPC Computer Repair in South Shore and let us help you with all your computer repair services and print needs. Need office or print production services, copies, scans, fax, or even notary service? Then stop by and support RPC Computer Repair and Print Shop located 1741 East 71st Street in the 71st Street corridor, newly revitalized South Shore areas, and let RPC be your one-stop shop, where we believe RPC is your PC. RPC Computer Repair is also a UPS access point where you can drop off and pick up your important packages. So let RPC be of service to you. Call RPC Computer Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. through 6 p.m. at 773-966-4457. That's 773-966-4457. Visit RPC at rpccomputeringinc.com for more information.
Steve Stanley.
Bring your body here to me. Always sexy as can be. Watching every move you make. No more dreaming about today. From the first time I saw you, I knew you'd be mine. See, I knew that you would be mine. Now I know that I can leave the rest behind. Now I can leave the rest behind. Yeah. 'Cause baby, you make me feel like I'm dreaming. Am I dreaming? Never thought that I would feel this. All I want is to spend my life with you. Spend my life with you. And spend my life with you.
Welcome back. You're tuned into the Book of Dawn, broadcasting live Wednesday, June 23rd. Cancer season. Not that cancer, the zodiac sign.
The best cancer.
The best, yeah, facts. Okay, I gotta find, my joke is in my phone. I forgot to write it down. So, joke of the day, because I'm funny. Hold on. Oh, Maze just texted me sorry from when I couldn't get in the door. Thanks, bro. 3 hours later. All right, joke of the day. Yesterday, let me tell you my joke yesterday. I said, what kind of tea is hard to swallow? And everybody was like stumped. And I said, reality.
That's good.
Isn't that good? All right. So what? Let's see. Let's see. This is easy. So I'm going to have to do two. What's red and bad for your teeth? It's mean. It's mean, but it's funny. What's red and bad for your teeth?
Blood?
Close. A brick. You like that, nephew, did you like that? Okay, I got one more. What do you call an alligator in a vest? You ought to be able to pick this one up, nephew. I'm so funny. What do you call an alligator in a vest?
I have no idea.
I can't even say it. It's so funny. An investigator. Okay. Dawn, what's my score? Dawn, like 4,529, and you have
40,
like 30.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah, I'll give you 100 just cause. I'm still winning.
Investigator.
Oh, somebody got it. Guess what? You got my joke. How do you pronounce this name? Is it Tier?
I guess that is Tier.
Okay. Hey, Tier, do me a favor. I just talked to Miss Amy offline. Did he say that? It's hard to figure out if the gender with the names. Is this the Tier? Are you male or female? Because I don't want to say he or she wrong. But what I want
I'm guessing this is because I went to their page. That's the name of the designer.
Okay.
So it's just I might be a woman.
Okay, so you put that answer in there before I answered. Because you did that, can you inbox me your real name and your mailing address? I just shared with Amy during the break that we were going to figure out how for the Book of Dawn, because that's what I do, is read, to get some autographed copies from Miss Amy.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, can I get that one?
Well, I'll do that for you just cuz. But, so yes, Tier, can you, okay, it's a guy.
He is a guy, and that is his business page.
Okay, Tier, I need to know your name and address so that I can order the book for you, get Miss Amy to sign it for you, and get it to you. There you go. Nephew, you got the other one. I said, what did I say? We do 5? 4? Okay, so we'll do 5. We will come up with the other 3, how you get the other 3. You know what? Toussaint will be one of them. He's a serial entrepreneur, and he's very engaged in this conversation. So really, there are only 2 left, but we'll figure that out later. We paused at Comfort Cake, coming to Chicago, being told that's a cute idea.
Right.
And then you leveraging everything.
Everything.
To invest in yourself and in what?
And in
the
my
promise
family.
of God
Right.
that you knew he told you to.
He told me to do it.
Yeah.
And that faith has sustained me through the ups and downs of the business.
Okay.
And Comfort Cake, we got everything started. We, got my recipe commercialized, and I have stories if I ever just do Comfort Cake and talk about what do you have to do. I have one of my consulting clients now who's starting a food business, and there are the ins and outs that you really need to know about a food business. You don't ever give anybody your recipe and just say, do you think you can make it as a co-packer? No, you get an NDA and make sure that legally they can't take your recipe.
Gotcha.
Okay, and you and I have talked about this in the past. I mean, you just don't do certain things, and I had to, study and make sure of how to do that. And you also talk to people who are in the business. I was blessed to have a lot of advice and mentorship from other food entrepreneurs in Chicago. Michelle Hoskins was one.
Yes.
Paul Frege was one.
Okay.
And you talk about relationships, because they were there, they had been successful, and I said, what do I need to do? And they were wonderful in taking me under their wing and just sharing some things with me. And so when you do those things and you get started, then you have to get some customers.
Sure.
And then, and I said, as I traveled in business on planes a lot, I never saw pound cake on a plane. And so I had met people who were in the business of the airlines, and one of them was Sandra Rand. She was, the director of diversity at United Airlines.
Okay.
And I said, one day I'm going to have this pound cake business, and when I'm ready, can I talk to you and get an exploratory meeting with the buyer?
That word, I love it. It's written down.
Right. And so she said, sure, when you're ready, talk to me. And so I got ready. I found a bakery who could make me some samples, and I said, I'm ready, and I got a meeting with the buyer at United Airlines. And I brought my little samples over to the buyer, and, he tasted them, and he told me, I said, I just need to know, what is important to you, what kind of size, what kind of pricing, et cetera, et cetera. And he tasted them. He said, this is very good, and I like them, and, we'll get back to you.
Okay.
The next day.
Right.
They got back to me because my timing was perfect. They were in the cycle of, getting desserts reviewed.
Okay.
And he said, Amy, we really like your product, and we want to buy 550,000 slices.
Look, how many fingers? Hold on. Huh?
They were little slices.
I don't care if they were specks.
They were little slices.
550. You have to say that like you're from the West Side. 550,000. That's a lot of slicing.
That was a lot of slices.
Yeah.
And I knew that was not going to make me a lot of money, but I didn't care because I knew that was going to be the kind of credibility that I would need to get me other customers.
You best believe it.
And that was always going to be part of my story.
Yeah.
So I could go to other people and say, well, United Airlines is one of my customers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the people that are flying on that airline that have consumed it.
Right.
Yeah.
But talk about faith and needing it. Mm-hmm. United wanted those slices on board in September. And this is September 2001.
Okay.
So I'm preparing all this, and the bakery who made my slices for United was kind of small.
Okay.
They couldn't make the order
for
550,000 slices. Sure. I had to fire them.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of trying to get this order made.
Okay.
And so I didn't have a bakery, but I had this big order.
Sure.
And so talk about relationships. I had met Mark Schulman of Eli's Cheesecake at a party.
Wow.
And I had told him I was in the bakery business like him, and he was, that's a wonderful endeavor. I wish you all the best. If you ever need anything, any advice, call me. Don't you know I picked up that phone?
If you didn't, you better.
I was like, Mark, I need a bakery, and I need it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have this big order, and my bakery I fired them because they couldn't do it. Who can I call? Because when I was starting out, I was using the Yellow Pages because it was not, Google doing all this.
Yeah.
And he said, most people are not even in the Yellow Pages who do the kind of volume you're talking about.
Sure.
Here's the bakery. Tell them I sent you, and you'll be able to get started. I never would have found it without relationships.
With relationship, yeah.
So I call this bakery and tell him what I'm doing, and he's like, oh, sure. Come out and sign the papers, NDA, and we'll help you.
Wow.
This bakery took my stuff, got it ready, and when I came to taste the samples, I thought I was Mrs. Fields, okay? Because my stuff was laid out.
Yeah.
It looked good. I'm like, oh, my God, this is great.
Yeah.
I got the samples to United. They were fine.
Okay.
But we needed more time.
Okay.
And this is the other thing. You've got to be trustworthy with your customers.
Yeah.
When that happened, I had to tell United I needed a little more time.
Okay. Okay.
And so they gave me more time. So we got the orders ready, but instead of September, we've got them ready for October, and they were fine.
Okay. But being transparent and not delivering a bad product because you don't trust the process enough,
right,
to say, hey, give me a couple more weeks so I can give you what I do,
right,
as opposed to the rush job to get it done.
Right.
You gotta be willing to take that chance,
because they will trust you because they know you're being authentic and transparent with them.
Yes.
You don't want to show something that's not working.
Yes.
So we got the time, but remember the first order was due in September 2001, and we all know what happened at 9/11.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
those planes went down.
That's
so
true.
I'm thinking, oh my God, we're going to get canceled.
Yeah.
But United came back to me and said, you know what? A product called Comfort Cake on our planes right about now is a really good idea.
Where did the name come from? Because that gave me chills, because that is absolutely, that's the hug. that the comfort cake, that you've built it around that. How did the name Comfort come
That's
about?
so funny because as I told you, I'd bring it to every dinner party and whatnot. And at Christmas time, I would make the comfort cake and I'd pour a little liquor over it, okay? And so this one Christmas, my good friends Renee Ferguson and Ken Smichael, we always went there for Christmas. And so, sometimes at Christmas you get a little, fun, and you're making stuff and you pour a little bit too much liquor over it, right?
Yeah.
That one Christmas I was having a good time. So I poured a little bit of more than I usually did, right? So we're having dessert, and everybody's sitting around the table, and I told them, I said, I'm gonna, start this business in one day. And they said, well, that's not a good idea. So everybody's tasting the cake, and they're like, girl, what'd you put in this cake? It's really comfortable.
Oh, I love it.
This cake is comfortable, girl. This cake is really comfortable. And so my marketing started, ding, 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 comfortable cake, comfort cake. That's it.
Yes, I love that.
That's it. That's the name. And everybody's like, yeah, that's the name, comfort cake. And I went home that night, pulled out my little credit card, and went to uspto.gov, the trademark website for the United States Trademark and Patent Office, and I started the trademark process myself.
Yeah, first of all, I just have to keep circling back to the intention of God when you're willing. Comfort, who knew that fast forward, that word and that feeling would transcend to a moment in history where we really did need a hug. Right. We really did need comfort.
Totally. And then I was surprised that it was available.
Okay.
I was surprised that I could start the process myself, but I needed a tagline.
Okay.
Because I'm a marketing person, so you need a tagline.
Yeah.
So I went back to my kids, and I'm like, okay, kids, we got this name Comfort Cake, but I need a tagline, because I just involved my kids.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting around the table, and I'm saying, okay, give me your ideas, And so my son is like, okay, I got it, Mom. He said, Mom, I got it. The tagline is, your cake really tastes good.
Oh,
I'm like,
yes,
Nick,
son.
Thank you, baby. That's a wonderful. I'm so glad you feel that way.
Good job, baby.
Good job. And so Angelica said, "Okay, Mom, I have something." And I said, "Well, what is it? What is it?" I can't say it, but I'll write it down. So she took her pen and wrote it on a piece of paper. She goes, and she slid it across the table. And I opened it up, and it said, "Comfort Cake. It tastes so good, it feels like a hug."
Wow.
14 years old.
14 years old. Wow.
And I said, Comfort Cake, pound cake so good, it feels like a hug.
Yeah.
And every time to this day, when I say that to anybody, they're like, they get it.
Yeah, totally.
They get it. I sold to 2,100 7-Eleven stores on that phrase alone.
Wow.
Because I cold called them, right? I'm
yes.
trying to sell 7-Eleven. And I called them, and the person who answered the phone on the floor where they, have the bakery, whatever, and they said, hello. And I said, hello, I'm trying to get to the bakery buyer because I want to, sell my product. And they said, well, she's at lunch, but, tell me about your product. And I said, well, I'm Amy Hilliard from the Comfort Cake Company. And pound cake so good, it feels like a hug. She just said, oh, I love that. Tell me more. It was the executive vice president of the whole bakery division for 7-Eleven.
Wow. Right. So you asked for the manager, but you had the boss on the line.
I had the boss on the line. When you're selling, you never know if you better have your elevator pitch down pat, because you never know who you're going to get.
That is true. Yeah. You can't stutter at that.
No,
That's delivery time.
That's delivery time. So I have my product, I have my tagline, and everything. So fast forward back to the United story. So we got into United. We were on the planes. 9/11 happened, but I'm not going to tell you more because it's in my book as to what we had to do after that happened.
And look, and I just put it in the thread, and nephew and Toussaint and Tier have already been gifted this from the Book of Dawn. So tell me now, this is your second book.
Yes.
You write your first book, but you leave something on the table, which gets us to this pivot.
Yes.
I know our forever First Lady, Michelle Obama, tap into your juice, has spoken publicly about your writing, your authoring that book. Tell me how how do we pivot for success? Tell me just some bullet points because we want them to purchase it. But tell us, when you say it, I hear it. I don't know that I can honestly say that I trust the process and my faith is where it should be. But there's also some strategic moves that you discussed. Can you share with us some of those strategic moves to pivot?
I will, because, I really want people to understand that you've pivoted before.
Okay.
It's not something that you haven't done when you really wanted to do something.
Okay.
And what I want to offer people is a process to get your mind back in that space.
Okay.
Okay, because you've done it before. And in the book, I talk about, in today's times, if you're not willing to change, you're going to be left behind. So as challenging as the pandemic has been and everything, you've got to understand that life will change.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing we know for sure. And you have to be willing to change with it.
Okay.
You've got to be willing to change with it. And it can be hard. Don't be afraid of it. Don't think you're too old, you're too young, you'll be stuck.
Okay.
And if you really want to do something, think about how beautiful it can be if you reinvent yourself.
Okay.
Because you can build resilience like a muscle.
Okay. Oh, okay.
You can build resilience like a muscle. And in doing so, you will find resurrection as you grow. Okay? Because you can rebuild and resurrect almost anything in your life, your business, your dreams, your relationships, because Jesus isn't the only one who has risen from the dead.
Yeah, yeah. Amen.
Okay?
In real life.
In real life.
Because for those of you who, I personally am a Christian, but if you can't hear what she's saying because it's from a biblical perspective, rebirth, resurrection is being reawakened.
That's right.
It's it is anew.
That's right.
And so don't be judgy if you hear it come from a faith-based place, because for us it is faith.
Right.
For some, you can call it what you want to. Resurrection is rebirth.
Right.
But it all is, like you said, we've all had to. I certainly, let me speak for myself. I know that I have resurrected and changed and pivoted. I think for me, I could learn more about how you hone in. How do you take all of this stuff? All this, you got I got this idea, I got that idea. How do you choose which one, or how to focus and how to place what we're going to hone in on?
Okay. Well, that's what the book is about.
Okay.
Because there is a process. There's 3 steps to the process and 10 pivot points that you use to strategically process it.
Okay.
The 3 steps are hone your vision.
Okay.
Number 1.
Okay.
Shift your energy. Number
Okay.
2. And then make your move.
Okay.
You want to hone your vision about the decision you need to make.
Okay.
You want to shift your energy to meet the decision.
Okay.
Okay. And then and only then will you make your move.
Okay. Okay.
So think about that on the one side.
Okay.
But then the 10 pivot points that are in the book will help you, as you said, because you got all this stuff going around. Should I do this? Should I do that? I have a lot of things that I could do. Well, when you look at those 10 pivot points, and I have lived by these for a long time. The book that you mentioned, Tap Into Your Juice, which I wrote in 2005, and Michelle Obama endorsed it then, have been around for a long time. And there are things like finding your purpose.
Okay.
What is your purpose? And it really is something that you think about in terms of what it is that is uniquely yours, your gift. What fingerprint can you share with others?
Okay.
Things like that. It's things like believing in possibilities. What is possible for you now? What is possible for you 5 years from now?
Okay.
Who can help you?
Okay.
Things like that.
Yeah.
And every one of my pivot points starts with a P. Always has been.
Love that.
It makes it easy. And I'm not going to tell you all of them because they're in the book.
Because you guys are gonna find out if you're lucky from me, but you're gonna go, and I'm putting the thread for the other book in there as well.
Yeah, the other book is an ebook on Amazon, but and I'm getting ready to have it in reprint. But you had mentioned that, I elevated it to this book. And it's important because the other book is a very short guidebook.
Okay.
But this book takes those 10 pivot points and builds all the stories. Many of the stories that that you hear me talking about, I couldn't put in the first book. It's only 28 pages.
Okay.
This book has all the stories.
The stories, okay.
And the questions. And because every time I would talk about the first book, I would tell my stories, and people were like, well, we want those in a book.
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially like for me, I can hear it, but I use my books like this as study guides. And I write in them, and I refer to them almost like a dictionary, so to speak. And so it's important to have it in writing.
That's right.
Because some of us are not audible learners,
Right. Right. And this is a blueprint. I look at this book as Pivot for Success is a blueprint for reinvention and change. And that it helps you to become a change agent for yourself, for your family, for your organization. If you use these 10 pivot points, you will be able to become the change agent for your life that you need. Because it forces you to ask yourself some very important questions, like define your priorities.
Yeah.
What are they?
Yeah.
What stage of your life are you in?
Yeah.
And once you start doing that, then it's easier to hone your vision.
Sure.
To shift your energy.
Sure.
To make your move.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing it in a vacuum.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not doing it in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Think about prosperity. What does prosperity mean to you? What is your enough? Because I chased the brass ring for a long time, thinking that I had to have all this money here and there and everywhere. But I didn't need that.
Yeah.
And I learned that through Comfort Cake.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because Comfort Cake took me to the wall.
In real life.
Real time.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm a Harvard MBA, but I had to do a lot. I had to file bankruptcy.
Yeah.
In order to keep my business.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say that. I was for years.
Yeah.
But God said, tell your story.
Yeah.
So people understand
Yeah.
that you're still standing because you know how to pivot.
Yeah. Yeah, we see the glory, but it's the story really.
That's
it's
right.
the story biblically. It's the story in real life.
That's
that
right.
I heard somebody say this morning. It's so intentional that I heard this before I left out the door. Something was on television, a pastor, and I don't even know who it was, and he said, God gives you a lot of gifts, and a lot of what you should do. He said. He said, nobody has just one gift.
No.
He said, God gives you lots of them. Figure out your strong gifts.
That's right.
And walk and move in those. And it like resonated. I'm like, yeah, we're not one-trick ponies out here. We're born in greatness with all of this stuff. But you have to hone the vision. You got to inventory. And take those pieces and put them in some kind of order with your other points. What is prosperity? What are your whys?
That's right.
And
Know
then you
your
get
why.
to your house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Know your why.
Know your why.
Know your why.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you can position your courage where it needs to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Look. Tito, give me some tissue. We're going to take a break. This is the Book of Dawn. This is so good. We'll be right back.
WIIFTBP. WIIFTBP. Media's just for you and me. WIIFTBP. Media's just for you and me.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality Black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe Black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of Black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
You gotta know that it's over. I gave all of me. My heart is empty. You promised you would change. You said forever you and me. Look at what you've done to me. I'm torn apart. I'm picking up the pieces you left to me. How selfish could you be? This to me. I gave you the world, and you still cut me deep. I forgave you when you cheated. I guess it didn't mean a thing. No more excuses. I packed your bags, they at the door. Cause I'm through with you. Can't believe the things you put me through. I gave you all my love and then this what you do. Everything you did about the comeback, you gon' get this karma. Nothing karma. You end up losing everything you love. You about to get it. Every single do from every single thing you lose. You gon' get this karma. Ain't no escaping that. And everything you did is coming back. Cause payback's a dog.
Payback is was James Brown on Motown?
Payback. James Brown wasn't on Motown.
Okay, because I was gonna say we could take it back to the big Payback. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. It's a big dog, like a German Shepherd-ish, Rottweiler-ish. If Payback was a dog, what dog would you say it was? I would say German Shepherd.
Yeah, it's one of the big ones, like the Cane Corso.
Cane Corso, yeah. Yikes. Welcome back. You tuned into the Book of Dawn. We left before the break at honing in, taking all of those ideas. Now, I personally have to write things down. What is your process? Do you write it down, or how does that go from your head to like the next step?
I write it down.
Okay.
I write it down too. I am a big fan of the big yellow pad.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or notebooks.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
But I like yellow pads, and I have found the kind of yellow pad that works for me, because some of them don't tear off clean.
Mm-hmm.
That frustrates me.
Yeah, I don't like the raggedy.
Yeah. I'm like, no, it has to tear off clean.
It does.
And I have to have the right kind of pen.
Yes.
That's smooth. And I'm particular about that.
I like that.
And so when I found the right pen and the right yellow pad, I can go.
Okay.
And manila folders.
Yes.
And then I can go.
And you just allow yourself, you're creative, to go from your head to the paper.
That's right.
And then after you do that, I think that is a never-ending process.
It's a never-ending process, and I'm a lifelong learner and proud of it.
Yeah.
I read a lot.
Okay.
And I also use my phone, because now the phones, when you're, if you're lying down or you're resting and an idea pops up, I go to the notes section and I start writing it down.
You have to, because I have fallen short having something thinking I get up in an hour and waking up and not having it.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And so that's why I keep my phone next to my bed. I have a little phone stand.
Okay.
And I can roll over and just like,
yeah.
and it's there. And it's very important because sometimes when you have those visions, you know, it's that honing that vision, you got to write it down so you can hone it.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so then, and the shifting of the energy is so important because everybody has 24 hours of the day. Beyonce does, Jay-Z does, everybody else who has these great ideas. Anybody who's created anything massive in the world has the same amount of time as you do.
Yeah. That part.
That part, okay? The same, and you know who I learned that a lot from? Tom Burrell.
Oh, okay.
I worked for Burrell Communications, and my office was directly down the hall from Tom's.
Okay.
And so I would see Tom come to work every day, and his office was directly down the hall from my office.
Okay.
And when he, at the time, had his office on Michigan Avenue, he had this huge bust of Martin Luther King in the lobby.
Okay.
And so you get off the elevator, and he donated it to the Disabled Museum.
Oh, good, good.
And so, but you would see this huge bust of Martin Luther King, and you could touch it and feel it and get inspired. And I would turn to the left, and that would go down the hall to my office. But I would see Tom walk to his office. Tall, debonair, striking, intentional.
Yes.
And he built a $50 million business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if he did it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Again, going back to seeing people with integrity, other entrepreneurs doing the thing.
Sure.
And
sure.
I'm saying if they can do it, I can do it. And that is why I did Comfort Cake. That's another reason why I did Comfort Cake. I said, as long as I can do it and people can see me doing it, that's why I would always, volunteer. I would talk to groups. I talked to Push. I just talked to the Chicago Urban League on Saturday on Juneteenth.
Good.
It was so gratifying.
I'm sure.
The Next One program is being brought back.
Okay.
And so I'm talking to the next generation of entrepreneurs. If our young people don't see us doing something, they may not envision that they can do something.
Yeah.
So I'm saying I'm going to take Comfort Cake as far as I can.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be loud and proud about it.
And the good thing, Amy, is that you don't have to come from means to sit in your chair.
You don't have to come from means to be meaningful.
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole meme. Text me that.
Okay.
That. Absolutely.
And I came, my parents were working class and we got to the middle class, but my dad had 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Like I said, my mother had 4 daughters and she was a licensed licensed nurse before she went and got her degree. And then got her master's by typing on my grandfather's regular old typewriter while we were all in school. So I saw my parents work very hard.
Yeah.
My kids have seen me work very hard. But I paid a price.
There's value in that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I paid a price for it. I mean, you can't have everything all at once. I've been married twice. That's not easy.
Yeah.
But I'm in still good relations with my children's father, and we're all in the village together raising the kids. But you know what? It's just important for our kids to see what they can do.
Yeah.
To see what they can do.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, resiliency looks good on you. If it was a makeup, I would buy it.
Well, it's something that, and I'll tell you, and it's something that I told my kids all the time as they were growing up, and it's in the book, and you'll see why this happened in the book. I'm not going to tell you the backstory.
Okay.
But I told my kids, as long as I can look up, I can get up.
Yeah.
And I told them that so often that my son had it tattooed on his arm before he left for Howard University.
You got another bison.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Still waters run deep.
Yes, they do. And my daughter, who is, at Burrell Communications
now
as a senior,
relationship.
No, honey, she got that on her own.
Did she?
Yeah, she made sure she got that on her own. I don't need your help.
Right.
I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But she's very proud of it, and she had me speak at her Christmas party, so she brought me in once she was settled.
Okay.
But she's always been in advertising, and she knew how to quote a commercial at 4 years old. She could quote a commercial. But my son has always been, the more financially oriented person. So, they each have their gifts.
Yeah.
They each have their gifts. And my son was always the one who was a chief taste tester.
Of course he was.
Still to this day, if I don't save him.
What was his tagline? It's good. No.
Mama tastes really good. Well, but you know what? that made sense because he could taste it. He was the one who was able to solve the question of why they couldn't get the chocolate to taste right.
Oh, really?
Totally, this story. Because the bakery couldn't get the chocolate chip flavor to taste right. And I brought some home, and I said, Nick, it just doesn't taste right. He took one bite. He said, Mom, there's too much flour in it.
Oh, look.
That sounds good to me.
Right.
I went back to the bakery next day. I said, the problem is
right.
that there's too much flour in this particular mixture. And the bakery product developer said, that's right.
Wow.
Nick has never let me forget it.
And yeah, I every time he calls, hey, mama. Hey, mom.
I was right.
Yeah.
So, but I tell that story again to entrepreneurs, and the family. How do you balance that? I did that because I wanted them to know that this was a family business. It's a legacy business.
Absolutely.
And they helped me with it. Angelica worked in the business for 7 years.
Okay.
She ran it when I was at Fashion Fair.
Okay.
Okay. And she said, Mom, take the Fashion Fair job because you need to settle some things down with the business.
Sure.
I will run it for you. Nick has always been able to, help me with the finances or understanding strategically what I should think about. They all have their gifts.
Yeah.
But, it was something that I believe was important because when Nick was in high school, he said, well, Mom, what is this comfort cake? I said, why don't you sit down on the floor and I'll print out the P&Ls.
Yeah.
I said, that is comfort cake.
That is comfort cake. Yeah, it's right. It's in black and white.
It's black and white.
Yeah.
These are the sales, these are the cost of goods, and this is the profit.
Yeah. So you taught them business at a very young age. They were part of it from the very beginning, even in the decision to put everything you had into a dream and a vision,
right.
And they watched it manifest. They were part of that manifestation.
Right, but I never, ever demanded that they take it over.
Yeah.
Because that was my dream.
Yeah.
It was not their dream.
Yeah.
Angelica was very clear. She said, Mom, I don't want to run the whole business, but I will run the fourth floor, marketing.
Do you think that is do you think that's important for a lot of legacy, a lot of people, you got to take this over. Do you think that they err when they kind of force their kids into that? I would say yes, because that might not be that person's gift.
I agree. I think that you can expose them to it, and if they glean toward that, great.
Okay.
But if they don't, I think that you have to let people do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And Angelica, as I was saying, she never wanted to, formally take over for me, but she said, I will run the fourth floor, which is the marketing floor.
I'll do what
That's what I like to do.
Yes.
And Nick is talking about, now that I don't manufacture comfort cake anymore.
Okay.
Because I made the decision I didn't want to own a plant.
Okay.
Which is, you have to make those decisions. But that's why I went into licensing now.
Yeah. But so you've licensed
I
it,
license
though.
I keep my intellectual property.
Okay.
Because that's very valuable. And these are some things entrepreneurs, especially black entrepreneurs, need to know. We are great as black people. We're great consumers of things, and we're great creators of things. Okay. But we don't know how to protect what we create.
Yeah. Well, that's the conversation. You and I have that conversation often.
Yes.
Yes.
So you protect what you create. And I have had to spend a lot of money protecting what I have created.
Good.
I'll take that too.
It's worth it.
Yes, ma'am.
It's worth it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because that really is the legacy.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that, I can license it to a lot of other people and still keep the business.
Yeah.
So,
That's working smart. Not hard.
That's right. But see, we don't understand that part of the business. So I talk about this to young people. And other people who aren't so young about business, who understand they have an asset. It's an asset. You look at that balance sheet and understand your assets. So I just said that, that's something that Nick may want to take over down the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he doesn't, that's fine.
Then that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. I actually, so Angelica, is that the daughter I met at the theater?
Yes.
Was that Color Girls? I can't remember. Something. That theater, I love the Court Theater.
I know.
It's so intimate.
It is.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't wait till they open back up.
I know.
Tell me before we have to sign off, you have a blog.
Yes.
Tell me about your blog.
It's called Sizzling After 60.
And I wouldn't have, look, if nobody, you could go to Great America and we could go.
Appropriate title, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
What?
He said an
say,
appropriate nephew.
Appropriate title.
Yes. Tell me what that's like. I know why you sizzle, but just tell me, you have a glow. We all have stuff, but you don't wear your stuff. You wear a glow that does shine light on people like me that you've mentored, that you've had conversations with, for our next generation of entrepreneurs. Tell me what sizzling at 60 is.
Well, it's really sizzling after 60. Yeah, I turned 60 and I said, you know what? Life is going to be good for a long time if you make the decision that it will.
Okay.
And I got a lot of this from my mother.
Okay.
My mother passed at 94, but she was wearing high heels until she was 90.
I love it.
Okay. Until she was 90, she was wearing high heels.
I love
and
that.
And her energy was off the chain. You know, she had, you know, some issues later on in life with dementia. My father did too. But, you know, they had a great time. Yeah. You know, for their 50th wedding anniversary, they didn't want presents. They said, we want, you all can donate because we want to go to Australia.
Oh, I love that.
You know, that's what we want to do for our 50th. And that's what they did.
And that's what they did.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
And so, you know, my mother was a gymnast when she was younger. And my younger sister, Wendy, is a gymnast. So she was very flexible and whatnot. I have a picture of my mother when she had to be in like 89, you know.
Looking like Millie Cruz out.
Right, exactly, exactly. And I'm like, wow. And so my whole thing was, as long as I'm healthy, I can do anything. And so my health is very important. Health and wellness is one of the templates of the platforms of Sizzling After 60.
Okay.
I am very, very dedicated to health, wellness, nutrition, sleep. I write for blackdoctor.org.
Okay.
And I post on there, and then I post on my blog. Because I was writing the book, I have to really start getting back into posting on my blog, Sizzling After 60. But it's about thriving at every stage of your life.
I like that.
And what's interesting is that I have a lot of people who are 30 years old who love the blog because they say, I want to look like you when I'm your age.
Yeah, I pray. I know you and I were in some business conversations about 2 years ago, and one of the things, because I learned so much from you, was that you really said, hey, listen, I can't focus on this. I'm finishing this. You were in the process then, and you selfish is not a bad word all the time, because you took your time for yourself to bring this to life.
Right.
I don't know that we all take the time away from whatever the world is asking to be still, to complete the mission. And that is one of the things that I adore most about you, because I learned how to not just lend myself freely. You can't make every meeting. You can't make every event. You have to take that time to finish the gift.
That's right. It's honing that vision.
Yeah.
And it's a tough decision because you may have some really exciting things put before you, but sometimes you have to say, what are my priorities now?
Yeah.
And I can't do everything, because then you'll get totally stressed, totally burned out. And I have been there. Trust me, I have been there. And it's not a pretty place to be. Your health, that's when you start jeopardizing your health, your stress, your well-being, and stress can kill you.
Absolutely. It's a quiet killer of a lot of people.
That's right.
Yeah.
It can kill you. And so I'm saying I do not want to go out that way. And so I take my day staycations.
Yeah.
I don't call them a mental health day. I call it a
day
staycation.
Yeah.
You know, where I do whatever I want to do in my house
by
myself.
By yourself.
And it's so fun.
It is. I've
fun.
The pandemic will, for me, you know, social butterfly. I am so content right now when it used to be 90 degrees, I would be like, run to be outside. Now I'm just like, I'm good right here with this glass of champagne, this remote, this book, my puppy, my best friend, my little best friend who he loves me even if I yell.
Right.
Just being still.
Being still. And that, to me, is what the pandemic has really taught a lot of us. We've lost a lot of people that we love. And I lost 10 people that I loved before the pandemic.
You did, indeed.
One right after another.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, God, you're talking to me.
Yeah.
What's the lesson? And then the pandemic came. And people need to understand, you know, this is not the first time God said, I can wipe this out anytime I want.
Yeah, this is not.
This is not. And, I'm a faith-based person. For those of you who are in a different space, I respect that.
Yeah.
But I also know that was a message.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so for us to say, what's really important, and are you giving of yourself so that you can do for others, because there's an energy that can be positive, and light always dispels darkness.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely.
The only thing that can take out darkness is light.
Is light. Absolutely.
So if you got light inside of you,
yeah,
it's doing good.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you what the pandemic, you say, life's not promised, but then you see it in real numbers, in real time, and then hey, nobody is sitting around waiting on me to manifest my dream.
No one.
Nobody's waiting. I'm not even waiting, because I don't know what's tattooed on your son's arm. If you can wake up, you can get up.
If you can look up.
You look up, and you have to show up. You have to show up for yourself. You have to show up for your community. You have to show up for your kids that you never even gave birth to, because all of the kids are our kids.
That's right.
That's part of the gift, is that you get to be the village. You know what I mean?
And what I have found, and my kids used to hate when I did this, when we would go to the movies on Friday nights, and you'd be in the movies, and I'd always go to, the ICE theaters and try to support, and sitting there would be some kids, and they'd be all loud, and I'd say, excuse me, we're trying to hear the movie. Would you all mind keeping it down? And my kids, oh, Mom, because embarrass us. And then when I would come out, we'd come out of the movies, and the kids, the kids that I would tell to kind of keep it down, they were like, "Man, we appreciate that,
Yeah.
You'd
be surprised. Everybody ain't gonna turn around and say, "You said." Right. Some of them need it.
They do.
Some of them crave it.
Right, they do. And then I would be at the store shopping, and the kids would be, using all kind of MFs and whatnot, all loud, talking to each other, talking to their girlfriends that way, all loud in the street.
Right.
I would say, excuse me. Those words are really hurting my ears.
Yeah.
And you really shouldn't be talking to your girl that way.
In the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
And they're like, ma'am, you're right.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you're right. So it's like, I'm not afraid of our people.
Yeah, I ain't either.
Mr.
Milhouse tells me all the time, you gonna stop jumping out of cars, breaking up fights. No, I'm not.
No, well, you have to be,
I'm wise. Yeah. I'm not gonna jump it, but if it's a playground fight,
right,
between two little girls and everybody's around watching, we're not doing that.
Right,
we're not doing that.
And so we cannot be afraid.
Conflict resolution is
right.
We need a little bit more of it.
Right, and you have to be smart, because gun issues are gun issues.
Yeah,
and they're real.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's not something that you can see is a gun issue, come on now.
2 5-year-olds fighting.
Come on now.
Ain't no guns.
Yeah, that's crazy that y'all mentioned that, because my uncle, there was a baby in the street yesterday. My uncle was just telling me the story. Like, I could have just drove around, but he seen that the door was open, and the baby had got all the way out to the middle of the street.
Oh my gosh.
He said he hopped out of his car in traffic, left his car sitting in the middle of the street, and he took the baby to the house, and they had no idea. It was a house full of kids. They had no idea.
Wow.
So it does take a village.
It does take a village.
And you could ignore it. You could ignore it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
We cannot do that.
Yeah.
We just have to get back to that and not be afraid, because like you said, they crave it.
Yeah.
And and it's like, okay, so how can we just collectively get back to that? And it's not us and them. That stuff has got to stop. I hate it when I go to these, sometimes these, events, and people start talking, oh, them, them. I'm like,
no, it's us.
It's us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not we and them like when you played spades when you was little. Remember our parents used to, we and them. That's Listen, I have had an absolute ball. I would love so my contest for the other 2 books are, if you can tell the 3, I'm not going to repeat them, but there are 3 things you need to do before you can get to the 10 P's, right?
Oh, I wrote those down.
Well, you already got the book, so don't you say anything. But this broadcast will be rebroadcast live in 2 hours. if you can tell me those 3 things, I'm going to take it to my Instagram page, to the Book of Dawn, Book of Dawn. If you inbox me, I will screenshot who puts those 3 things first. 2 people. I will get the books. I will get them to Miss Amy. She will sign them. And then maybe after that, the 5 of us, because I will have had an opportunity to read it, so there will be 6 of us, 7 including you, which is a good number in faith. We'll have a conversation. Like, we'll be able to have the next conversation.
Oh, that'll be wonderful.
That'll be fun, right? It'll be like
wonderful.
a small group at church or something like that.
Yes,
and as long as I can bring some champagne. Can I bring champagne?
You can bring champagne.
Okay.
And the only thing I ask is that anyone who has purchased a book or who will have read the book, please send me or send Amazon or Barnes & Noble your review. That will be helpful to me.
I put the link in the thread. Please order the book. Support us. This is for us, by us. Before I get out of here, I want to tell you 2 things. First, let me say, Amy, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm really honored that when I asked you to be on it, you said yes. I was like, oh, this is a winner. This is big. No, this is big for me, and I appreciate you.
Oh, no,
you are indeed that girl, my woman crush today. 2 things. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. And the other thing I want to tell you before we leave is don't feel guilty for doing what's best for you. Don't feel guilty for doing what's best for you. Thank you for tuning into the Book of Dawn. Remember to lead with love. Use your voice to be a positive impact. Do something for somebody other than yourself. Stay tuned tomorrow. We have Damon Williams has a comedy show. Vivica Fox is the host of this weekend. Jeremiah Frazier is coming in, and we're going to talk to a couple of the comedians. Hopefully he can get Vivica Fox on the show. That'd be cool. And if not, we'll just be here freestyling. Peace and roll, tide, roll. We out of here.
WIIFTBP.
Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know we got to find a way to bring some love in a day.